Today we're looking at ancient irrigation systems. Hello, welcome to the Daily Bellringer World History. Please don't forget to subscribe and check out the questions down in the description. Also, don't forget to check out dailybellringer.com where you'll find more resources that go with many of the Bellringer videos. Agriculture and farming are the foundation of civilization. A civilization can be defined as a complex society with social classes, government, specialization of labor, art, and so on. But civilization would have never developed without a steady supply and surplus of food, so people could focus their efforts on other tasks rather than food production. Archaeologists believe that around 11,000 to 10,000 BC, people first began to grow and harvest crops in areas such as the Fertile Crescent, as the agricultural revolution began. Over time, farmers developed better farming techniques and discovered new ways to grow crops that resulted in bigger harvests that could feed more people. Early on, these ancient farmers realized that crops would not grow without a steady supply of water. That is why early settlements and communities were located near sources of water. However, the Fertile Crescent, which today would be part of the Middle East, has a very dry climate, so the water supply is not always dependable. For this reason, farmers began to develop irrigation systems to bring water to their crops. These irrigation systems consisted of various ditches, canals, water basins, levees, dams, and dikes to control the flow and storage of water. One of the first places prehistoric irrigation systems have been found is in Mesopotamia, which is the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers that is part of the Fertile Crescent. Here, Mesopotamians created what is known as a basin-type irrigation system. Farmers would dig a small gap in the banks of the river that would then direct water into a basin or a low dugout area, almost like a sink for water. When the water basin was full, they would quickly fill the gap up with mud to stop the flow of water. Now the water could be directed to where the farmers needed it. This could be done by digging canals or ditches that would lead the water to their fields, or in many cases it was as simple as using a bucket to carry water to the crops. One device used to move water by Mesopotamians and early Egyptians was a swap or shaduf. The swap was a long stick that had a counterweight at one end and a bucket tied to the other. The stick then sat on a V-shaped support that allowed for the bucket full of water to be swung from side to side and dumped where the water was needed. Another irrigation technique used by ancient farmers was to harness the power of floods. Each year, ice melt and precipitation in mountains just to the north of the Fertile Crescent would result in the Tigris and Euphrates breaking their banks and flooding much of the region. Knowing this, farmers dug canals to direct the floodwater to their fields, and then gates in the canal that would block the water from receding back. The farmers would then allow the water to set on the field for 40 to 60 days before opening the gates to allow the water to flow off the field. The floodwater not only left moisture in the ground for the crops to grow, but also left a thick layer of muddy silt full of nutrients and minerals that would help the crops grow bigger and healthier. Interestingly, these irrigation systems were so important to the Mesopotamians that many of their early laws dealt with required maintenance of canals and basins. Other early written laws also dealt with water rights and required citizens of early civilizations to aid in maintaining these irrigation systems. Although many of these marvels of ancient engineering have decayed, eroded, and some were destroyed by invaders in later years, many remains of these systems can still be seen today. Archaeologists estimate that some of these irrigation systems were used for over 1,000 years by generation upon generation of early farmers. Eventually, these irrigation systems, first developed in Mesopotamia, spread to other civilizations. The ancient Egyptians built canals running parallel to the Nile River that would hold water to direct to their crops. Later, the Greeks and Romans developed systems harnessing and moving water where it was needed, such as long aqueducts that could stretch over 200 miles, bringing water to cities and farms. As I said before, farming and agriculture are the foundation of civilization, and civilization would not have flourished if not for the utilization and control of water developed by ancient people. So with that, hopefully you learned something, and thanks for watching.